The Brain Eaters is a 1958 horror movie from director Bruno VeSota. Ah, AIP, so you know this is going to be quality. The movie opens in Riverdale, Illinois.
Riverdale, Illinois was just another quiet, small town.
It is until the CW moved in. One night, this gentleman is casually walking with a brain in a jar when suddenly... You fool! Do you know how hard it is to find brains at this hour? Also, isn't this supposed to be one guy with a chocolate bar and the other with peanut butter? The Brain Eaters! Brains for lunch, brains for breakfast, brains for brunch. We cut to a couple driving through the woods.
On Sunday, about an hour before nightfall.
An hour before nightfall? Let me fix this. On Sunday, about noon, the couple just got engaged and are heading to tell the girl's parents the good news. Oh no, this is another movie with 30-year-old teenagers, isn't it? The couple make a turn when suddenly something explodes. They walk around and try to find the source of the explosion and find a bunch of dead dogs. They pass through some brush to find a giant swirly fun slide. Okay, it's really a Cobra mole pod. The couple inform the authorities, and it gets back to Washington. In walks Senator Powers.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper, make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
The officials gather around to watch top-secret UFO footage. The footage is of the giant cone-shaped object.
The cone stands 50 feet high, has a base diameter of 50 feet.
And this is not the same length. They have their top scientist, Dr. Paul, trying to figure out what the cone's made of. They interviewed some of the locals about the cone. I told Agnes, I said it's the goddamn commies. That afternoon, the senator arrives to take over the investigation. The senator is wearing his best Frankenstein coat. The mayor's son tells him that his father is missing, and there's been a string of murders around the cone. They drive through town while this guy is stealing light fixtures. The area is now under strict government control. That's why there's no military presence whatsoever. Just Dr. Weiler, Dr. Paul, and his assistant Alice. Dr. Paul calls to Alice, and wow, they really fudged up this dub.
39.7 ratio, test negative.
The senator then makes an indecent proposal. Well, doctor, exactly how much do you want that funding? The senator wants to know what's inside, and the doctor tells them it's just one big unending tunnel. Then he does something really stupid. Dangerous, yes, but wasn't that cool? To find out what's inside, Dr. Paul goes in. He travels through the never-ending tunnel. Could he hurry up? I'm gonna be late for dinner. Finally, after an eternity, he makes his way out. He tells them that the entrance is also the exit. Alice gets a call.
Hold the line. Glenn, it's the sheriff.
He tells them the mayor is back. He's in his office trying to fight his crippling addiction to holding guns. He hears the group coming and hides the gun. The doctor notices something on the back of the mayor's neck. He tries to get the gun, but Hakiba! The mayor leaves his office and gets shot by security. Here's why that's a problem. Security doesn't know he's possessed. He just hears gunshots and then shoots the mayor, the guy he's supposed to be there to protect. I'm in a lot of trouble now, aren't I? Glenn makes an observation.
Put that on his neck.
You want to show the audience? No? Okay then. Next scene. The doctors operate on the mayor and remove the thing we're not allowed to see. Oh wow, back when you could smoke in a hospital. The doctors explain they shouldn't feel bad about the mayor because he was already dead. So, an alien parasite attaches itself to the back of someone's neck and controls them like a puppet. What's that? Oh, never mind. The sheriff goes out to the space cone and gets ambushed by, brain eaters? They're really more brain controllers. How about, he gets ambushed by the aliens. They use the glowing thingy, and now the cop is one of them. This is me every morning pre-coffee. Dr. Paul is dissecting the mayor's brain. He removes a piece of the parasite. Uh-oh. It latches onto Paul, and Alice tries to fight it off. Ow! Ow! You're not helping! He goes to good old reliable fire to burn off the creature. They get a call from Dr. Weiler to come out to the cone. Dr. Paul explains how the parasites take over the mind.
These things take over a man's mind? He becomes a robot?
A robot? Weiler thinks this is just part of the ship, and there may be others around. The senator wants to set up search parties. Since the police can't help, they search the area themselves. Paul and Alice go to the woods and find a corpse. He's searching the body when, what the hell is that? That's supposed to be a brain eater? No wonder they didn't want us to see it. The other couple finds an old cabin. They get locked in and something sets the cabin on fire.
Something's burning!
Good lord, lady, just calm down and climb out the window. It doesn't have any glass in it. Okay, now it magically has glass. One of the bad guys tries to get in, but... you shot me! For some reason, the brain eaters get bored and leave. I guess those bullets put the fire out. Dr. Paul's relaxing with a good smoke after declaring the search a monumental failure. Alice discovers some jars, and Dr. Paul says this must be how they're moving the parasites around. If you see someone holding a goldfish tank, shoot 'em! The senator tries to send a message to the government, but the operator has brain worms. The bad guys go to Alice's apartment and deposits a huge hair clog from the shower drain. Welp, she's dead. Yep. They head back to the cone to discover a dead guy. Turns out this was the head of a scientific expedition who disappeared years ago. Seems the guy had a bad heart, and the parasite left to go find a better host. The guy is still alive, which gives Paul hope for Alice. Paul talks to the sheriff, who is totally acting normal and not suspicious at all.
Well, I want those 2 men that were stationed up there put down here at the foot of the scaffold, okay?
I'm cooperating.
The guy comes around and they ask him about the parasites. He informs them of something that they didn't know.
You mean the parasites come from the earth?
Then he conveniently dies. They go to the telegraph office and get attacked. I have nothing to add, but this just looks silly if you speed it up. The senator delivers a message over the radio. Only no one can hear it because this guy in the control booth has a balloon under his shirt. Dr. Paul tries to investigate some equipment, but gets attacked by the guards. You think by this point they would just check the back of everyone's neck. They repeatedly shoot the bad guys until they die from it. Paul and Glenn decide to go back into the cone. Only this time they find a door leading to Jesus? How did they miss this last time? This is Professor Cole, another scientist who went missing years ago. He's become the leader of the parasites. Cole tells them that they're conducting a non-violent takeover of Earth. Non-violent, you say? Cole tells them his plan, so Paul starts shooting. Here come the brain eaters. So the evil monster prop is just some Brillo pads with glued-on pipe cleaners. Who designed the monster? Mrs. Fielding's third grade class? Glenn and Paul escape. They run for cover and nothing happens. Paul has a plan. They're going to harpoon the high-tension wires and electrocute the brain eaters. He goes to fire the cable, but they send out Alice. He tries to rescue her, and she shoots him. Oof, love hurts. Glenn fires the gun, and everyone gets baked. All the parasites in the cone are dead, but the senator reminds him that there's still some in town they need to kill. Years later, the brain eaters reemerged, and this time, they were successful in the plot to take over the brains of people by becoming TikTok influencers. The Brain Eaters was shot in 6 days on a budget of $26,000. Actor Bruno VeSota worked with Roger Corman and approached him with a script he wanted to direct. Corman helped him raise the budget, as well as set up distribution through AIP. Corman remained uncredited as a producer. Ed Nelson, who played Dr. Paul Kettering, was also a producer. You may remember him as the lieutenant in last week's movie, Attack of the Crab Monsters. You can't really tell because of the fake beard. That's a pre-Star Trek Leonard Nimoy as Dr. Cole. You may have noticed that the film is very similar to Robert Heinlein's 1951 novel, The Puppet Masters. Heinlein also noticed it and sued for plagiarism. Corman claimed he wasn't familiar with his work, and the whole thing was settled out of court. Decades later, in 1994, an official adaptation of The Puppet Masters was released into theaters. It's more accurate, but still deviated quite a bit from the original novel, due to some disagreements with the story by the executives at Disney. The concept of the Puppet Masters has influenced numerous things over the years, from the Body Snatchers, to the Hidden, to the Faculty, to an overarching plotline in Star Trek The Next Generation. The Brain Eaters went through numerous name changes during production. It started as the Keepers, then the Keepers of the Earth, Attack of the Blood Leeches, Battle of the Brain Eaters, and finally, the Brain Eaters. The Brain Eaters is ridiculous. The idea is sound, even though it is borrowed from the Puppet Masters, either intentionally or unintentionally. The movie itself is fine, and probably would be remembered better if the monster wasn't so cheap looking. The Brain Eaters felt like a Corman film, so I wasn't surprised to find out that he was involved. Now, why can't we get some guts?
These things take over a man's mind. He becomes a robot.